This is a spoiler-free review for Unlock box number 3, Secret Adventures. The game is by Space Cowboys, and as we can see here, it is recommended for ages 10 plus. They say on the box it should take about 60 minutes and it should support about 1 to 6 players. This particular box has 3 different adventures in it: a Noside story, Tombstone Express, and the Adventures of Oz. I'll break down each of those adventures as I work my way through the box. As I say, no spoilers. We recently finished playing this game. I think this was probably one of our more enjoyed boxes because they did a couple of things in this that they hadn't done in previous boxes that we thought actually worked really well. So having said that, no spoilers, but I will go through some of what we enjoyed about what was in the box. This is a map of Oz that is used when you're doing the Wizard of Oz story. This is the explanation booklet that comes in all of the Unlock games. As with all of the boxes, you do get the classic tutorial. I've gone through it in other videos just to give a quick rundown of how this actual game works. You start off with a story part. You flip that over. It usually gives you a location, at which point you need to find different numbers. Then, just to give a quick way of how the game works, in this one you need number 11 and number 35. So when you find those cards, you end up with this locked cabinet and a key. Everything in the game will generally have either a blue or a red number. There's a couple of other colors that show up for codes and machines, but in general you're adding a blue number to a red number with these little jigsaw pieces to know they can be put together. So we're going to unlock our cabinet with our key. So we're going to add 11 to 35. That is going to give us number 46. We will find number 46 from our deck. Now we've unlocked the cabinet, it will give us some new information that we can use. We're allowed to card take 16. We will go and find card 16. It's a wire, and that will be used for the rest of the story. So, as I say, the way they rate these games is with it's called a difficulty rating, but I don't really know if I would agree that it's a difficulty rating, or if, from what we have found, is that like some of the games can be more or less difficult than each other, but the level ratings tends to, for us, fall more into the category of you have more or less cards on the table depending on the level that you are playing at. So level 1, you may have 4 or 5 cards on the table. When we were playing through level 3, I think at some point we might have had 16 or 17 cards on the table. And so it just adds that little bit of complexity because you have more cards that could lead to more combinations, and you have more pieces of information that you're trying to manage as you're moving along. So as I say, no spoilers, but I will just go through the basic story as it is told in this. So this is a no-side story, it's the level 1. So you will flip over the first one, you will find these cards, and that will let you progress the story. No-side is a returning character. He shows up in a few of the other games. It's kind of a more comedic type of game, and the storyline is a little bit more absurd, but it works for the setting. For the people who haven't played this before, there is a mobile phone app that comes with you can download. There's no cost to it, and it provides background music. And then, as I say, there are certain parts of the game where you need to find a code, or you need to work on what the game calls a machine, and you do this through the app. The app tracks your time and gives you a score at the end. I know some people dislike the fact that there's an app connected to the game. We haven't really found that it added or took away too much from how we were playing the game, because if you are engaged with the game, it still means that you're not on your phone or playing on your phone in a way that people might think board games should get you out of digital games, or get you out of that digital space, I suppose. So once the app is on and the timer is running, everyone is focused on the cards anyway. I know I did say that the box recommends 1 to 6 players. I'm not 100% sure if the game would work really with 6 players. Like, we have done a couple of games with 3 people and a couple of games with 4 people, and even then most of the stories that we've worked our way through, they're quite linear. So it solved one puzzle, that gives you a card for the next puzzle. As I did with this one, you just find, you add 35 and 11, you get 46. So it's not really like some other games we would have played where there is multiple puzzles need to be solved at the same time. This one, you're working your way through a story. It's quite on rails, and so it can be helpful to have multiple different brain types when you're playing the game. Like I'm quite good at, say, word puzzles. Valerie's quite good at spatial awareness puzzles and working out mazes, so we can break things down along those lines. But when there's just one card and add a number and add it to another number, I'm not sure how the game would really support 6 people. So on to the second mission then, Tombstone Express. It's a classic kind of Western story set on a railway, and there is some very good use of the cards in this particular mission. It's something we haven't come across in any of the other games or any of the other unlocked levels yet, and it added a little bit of fun to the game. So even just for that kind of experience, that kind of popped up out of nowhere, that was quite good. And then the third story is Adventures in Oz. So that's your classic Dorothy and all of her little friends, and working your way through that story. And again, it does work in the same way that when you flip this card, it gives you a task to complete. That will resolve the number, and then you work your way through working out the puzzles based on the numbers that you get. As I say, like, we really did enjoy this box, and it is one of the higher rated boxes. So when we started, we looked up the better boxes and we kind of did some of the weaker boxes first, building up to the stronger boxes. This one is kind of one that kind of relatively gets high ratings. So we kind of enjoyed it at maybe a 3.5 out of 5. As I say, there was some unique puzzles. The Noside story was quite a fun little level 1 to kind of be working your way through. It does say that it, like, kind of the time they give is in around 60 minutes. What we would have found is if we're putting ourselves under time pressure with certain parts of it, it becomes not fun. And the whole purpose of playing games like this is to have fun. So what I would say is if you have that really competitive streak and you're really pushing to try get in within the time, that's one way to play the game. But for people to remember that it is supposed to be fun, and if you find that the time element of it is putting you under too much pressure, then kind of ignore the time. And like, I mean, we've gone over time because, like, you know, if we're playing the game, we're not always 100% focused on the full game as we're playing. So sometimes we're kind of chatting about different things or whatever. And even if you go over the time and you make loads of errors, because the app tracks the errors as well, you can still come out of some missions getting 3 stars and 4 stars. So I'm not 100% sure what rating system the app uses for your completion of the game as well, but it's definitely not tied to completing it within the time frame. Like, I mean, we've even gone, like, we've taken 2 hours to do 1 hour missions and we've still gotten 5 stars on a couple of games that we've played. So kind of just don't get too caught up on the time. It is supposed to be fun. You're buying the games to have fun, so have fun. So as I say, 3.5 out of 5. I would recommend this box. There's a couple of boxes that we've finished recently as well that I don't think I would recommend. They'll be coming up in future videos, but for this box, yeah, I would say pick it up. It is the, as I say, Unlock Secret Adventures. It is worth playing, and I would say to anybody around these games as well, because they are played with cards and you use the app, there is no real destruction of any of the cards. So everything, when you're finished with it, is ready to be passed on to somebody else. Or what we've kind of been able to do is we bought the first few boxes, played through them, sold them, then use that money to buy the next set of boxes. Or if you can find, if there's a group near you, a board game group that might do some sort of trade between the groups, and if somebody has box number 4 and you have box number 3 or whatever, it's easy to just work out some sort of a trade system between the people involved there. So say, box is completely recommended, 3.5 out of 5 for us. We have kept some of the better unlock boxes and missions to play later on. They get so highly rated, we're expecting to rate those higher than we've rated the ones we've done so far. So if you think that you are interested in these types of games and you would like to see our future reviews on them, or maybe even you'd like to see some gameplay, let me know down in the comments. I hope to see you in the next one.